Hello, my fine friends. We've had a mad week in the UK because we've been hit by big storms. Luckily in London it wasn't too crazy, but there's been a lot of rain. So I've gone for a fair few kind of cozy, warm, quite sweet things this week. There's some stuff that I am absolutely in love with. And I've also got a few little samples to talk about at the end of the vid. So let's start with Falling in Love. I got this one a while ago. You can see I've already got a little bit of a dent, despite the fact that I think this is... How big is this thing? 120 mils. Because this is one you want to top up. It's one that's quite light, but it's super comforting, pretty, lovely. It's just a blackberry musk, basically. A sweet, slightly creamy blackberry musk. It's kind of slightly tangy. Definitely smells like blackberry. You definitely get a little hint of vanilla. The notes are just listed as blackberry, vanilla, musk, jasmine and lily of the valley. I don't really get much in the way of noticeable florals. You can kind of tell that it's something like perfumey in a way, but it is almost edible, this one. It's just so pretty. It's really like a cloak of comfort. It's really nice. I love a fruity musk. I love this bottle. This is the one that I managed to get from Simply Be. I got 2 bottles for like £25, I think, or something like that. Maybe 28. I just really like this. It's really easy to wear. This one definitely lasts way longer on clothes than on skin, because I can smell this on my robe if I put it on, or like any clothes that I'm wearing, like a week after I've worn it. On skin, I don't know whether you just sort of go anosmic to it, or because it's quite light, it doesn't have like a massive scent bubble, but you definitely need to kind of reapply this one. And I'm finding that with pretty much all of the philosophies that I've smelt, you need to reapply them quite a lot. But I do, I love, did I even say Falling in Love by Philosophy? I absolutely love that perfume. You could almost say that I am in love with it. So let's have a look. Where's my big boys? I wore this to work and I love this. I absolutely so enjoyed wearing this. This is, if you saw my video at the on Wednesday that I just put out, this is Elizabeth Arden Untold, and this is the Absolu version. So I decided to give this one a go. Took a little decant with me to work as well. But this one actually not too bad longevity wise. I topped up just only on my wrists at lunch. And then I did my neck when I left work. But this one, it's got a nice scent bubble, but not too aggressive. It's not too strong. It's just beautiful, because I'll read you the notes. Hang on. And then I shall explain. So also it just looks fabulous, doesn't it? So cute. I will put it that way just so you can see the side of this, and also because I can then fit something little on here. So Absolu, this is the one that I said smells almost identical to Luxe. So because I enjoyed wearing this one so much this week, I might try next week, this week coming I should say, wearing the Luxe edition and just seeing which one I prefer. But I'm pretty sure I'm keeping this no matter what happens, and I have a feeling if I also enjoy Luxe, that might just go into my like cupboard, or it might just be the one that I wear to work just because it's a smaller bottle and I can take the whole bottle. So the notes here: plum, raspberry, ginger and bergamot in the top. Middle notes: Egyptian, jasmine, flowers, narcissus in the middle. Base notes: Tahitian vanilla, tonka bean, benzoin, cashmere wood. Now those base notes are the main thing in this perfume. There may be a slight warmth from the ginger, but I don't think it's like massively gingery. However, benzoin to me always has a kind of warm, almost gingerbready smell to it. So the combination of that made this kind of warm, ever so slightly spicy, almost slightly Christmassy. I don't find this massively floral, but the flowers in it, what it does, it makes it smell like a perfume, even though the vanilla in it is very edible. Like I would say this has a gourmand vanilla that is ever so slightly custardy. It's probably the combination of the tonka bean with it. that's incredibly comforting and pretty. Reminds me quite a lot of wearing Lolita Land by Lolita Lempicka, like in the colder weather when I love that one. Whereas that one is like almost entirely gourmand to me. Like it smells like a cake with apricot jam and vanilla custard. This one smells a bit more mature, but like not in an old-fashioned way. It just smells very chic and ladylike, but also warm and sweet. This is another one of those when I was wearing it, I was kind of like, I can't believe no one stopped me and asked me what I'm wearing. Although I should, because that doesn't really happen in London. We don't really speak to strangers. But it's just so pretty. I really enjoyed every second of wearing it. I'm super glad I got this. I think it's beautiful for this time of year. My husband said I smell nice in this as well. So it's not one that actually smells too mature, if you see what I mean. It still smells sweet and good and I think just lovely. I really, really liked it. So I already can't wait to wear that one again. And let's see, speaking of one I can't wait to wear again, I'm actually already wearing it again today. So I'm just keeping it in this because it's got this special kind of tube. This is Far from And Fragrances. That's the Simon Constantine company. He used to work for Lush. He was a perfumer at Lush. I believe he's the son of one of the Lush founders, Mark Constantine. This is the one that smells like a lemon cheesecake and I am obsessed with it. I love it. I wore it to work. You can see I've got a good dent in it because, as with pretty much every lemon perfume I've ever tried, smelt, this does not last the longest. Again, a bit longer on clothes. I could definitely smell it still the next day on like my lanyard. I could smell the slight citrusy and very like vanilla-y kind of scent. Oh my God. I absolutely love this. So, I mean, I would say, because the notes in this are top notes of kaffir, lime and yuzu, middle notes of mandarin orange and labdanum, and base notes of biscuit, but it's very vanillic at the same time. There's not a huge amount else. If I just look at the back, no, there's not really much else listed in here. There's a bit of geraniol, but there's not a huge else. But it's so sweet and pretty while also having a real tart citrus, you know. It smells like my mum's key lime pie, the way that she does it in Britain, which is basically a lime cheesecake, a non-cooked, like, you know, a no-cook lime cheesecake. Beautiful, absolutely love it. Like I said, I'm already wearing this again. I'm filming this on the Sunday. I couldn't resist putting this on again. And that's partly because these are £35 for the 10ml, and this is the eau de parfum version. They have a deal that I've just signed up for, which is like every 3 month subscription. You get a 10ml, and I've started off because I want a bottle of Frank, and it's £29, including postage, and you get a 10ml of, I'm not sponsored by the way, this is just something I've decided to do as a treat for myself. So you get, for £29, you get a 10ml of the whatever you've chosen, like your favourite scent from and fragrances. And then you get 2 samples. So they'll just send you 2 samples of anything they've got that's kind of new, or, you know, just stuff they might think you might want to smell. And you can go in. So what I'll do is I'll get my Frank, and then I'll probably go in and I might actually change it to Far again. Or then, depending on the time of year, maybe I'll go for, I really liked Sand and I really like Bear. There's just a few of their perfumes I really like, and this is a perfect kind of size for me. I can chuck it in my bag if I get through it. In 3 months' time, I can change my subscription to be a different scent. If I like any of the samples they send me, I can change it to that. I just think it's a really good deal for 29 quid for such a very small niche brand, and their perfumes all smell so natural. You know, they don't smell like chemicals to me. So if you had the same problem as I do with Devotion from D&G and Akro Bake, but you really liked the idea of a sweet kind of gourmand vanilla-y smell, this is just fabulous. I just love Far. I think it's so yummy. I just kept topping it up throughout the day at work, and I was just absolutely digging how I smell. It's very gourmand, I'd say. That one, very gourmand indeed. Now, So it was obviously Halloween this week. So on Halloween, it was a work day, so I had to go to work, and I thought I'd wear sparkly pumpkin, as I had I've got some little braces that have little pumpkins on, so I was a little bit spooky. This is sadly a very limited edition that they did back during the pandemic, if I remember correctly. They did for this Halloween have the bath bombs and other bath products back of sparkly pumpkin, but they don't seem to have brought this back. Honestly, guys, if you ever see this on eBay or anything, and it's not a ridiculous price, if it's the same kind of price you'd normally pay nowadays, then it's totally worth picking up. I think it's so scrummy, and it's really weird. It's incredibly difficult to explain what this smells like, because I've never really smelled anything like it before. It's listed as having like juniper berry, grapefruit and lime oil. It's got geraniol in it again, which obviously always does. But there's something a little bit milky about this. There's definitely a sweetness that's almost like, if you can imagine like a cold glass of milk and then just like a tiny nibble of white chocolate, that kind of thing. But then it has this lovely citrusiness. It's not like spicy, but there is almost just a hint of the kind of pumpkin spice vibe going on here. Yeah, it's so hard to explain. If you'd have given this to me and said it's juniper and citrus, I'd have been like, what, really? I just don't know. It's a very interesting concoction that doesn't smell anything like I think the notes would suggest it does, but I do think it's lovely. But yeah, if you ever see it, you ever get a chance to get it, I think it's a really nice one. Oh, and then this baby. Let's see. I've been waiting to break this one out. And although, like, as you can see, I've been pretty kind of slightly gourmand, actually, to be honest, and very sweet. I was just craving this, and it's been cold enough that it's exactly the kind of right weather that I like wearing it. So this is Amethyst by Lalique. Gorgeous. I do love this bottle. I don't think it ever quite comes across as nicely as it does in real life on video, but I absolutely love this. Just hope that this is in I hope that all of this looks all right. So Amethyst by Lalique is a intriguing, unusual, dark berry perfume, but it's also, oh yes, actually that reminds me, so it's always really hard to get this without blinding you guys in some way. It's just I don't want you all to be blinded by the shininess. So I'm just going to read you the notes that they actually list, but I swear this does not in any way include what's going on here, because this is such a herbaceous perfume to me. So the top notes are blackcurrant, blackberry, blueberry, mulberry and big strawberry, apparently. Middle notes pepper, peony, rose and ylang ylang. Base notes musk, woody note and bourbon vanilla. Now I'm not saying that these things aren't in it, because I definitely feel like I can sense that all of those berries, but not sweetened at all, not cooked, not sugary, like barely, only just ripe, if not, maybe slightly underripe. Very tart, watery, crunchy berries, Peony, maybe. It's probably what's making it a bit soapy, along with the rose. Ylang ylang, I think I really like ylang ylang, so I imagine that's really helping this smell really good to me. And there's definitely a hint of vanilla in the bottom, and the musk in here is incredibly strong. The woody notes are pretty strong. This smells like berries on twigs with leaves. But I was wearing this on a day when I had to go and do a bit of grocery shopping on my way home from work. And I literally bought some basil because I'm going to make like a pistachio pesto. I mean, don't get me started. I love food. So I love perfumes. I love food. I could have happily made videos about either, but so I had this like pot of basil in my bag while I was wearing this, and I was walking along and I was like, my bag smells like my perfume, because I swear Amethyst, it has a soapiness in it that reminds me a little bit of rosemary, and then it has an incredibly green herbaceous note mixed in with all these other things that really smells like basil to me. And I've said that before, but my goodness, when I actually had fresh basil next to my skin when I was wearing this, there was a definite crossover going over there. And I absolutely love the smell of basil. And I happily will have that in perfumes. I think I have some perfumes that have basil in. Yeah, I absolutely love this. When I first got it, I wasn't sure. I'm going to twist that. That's what I'm going to do. So it's not too crazy. I wasn't sure about it because it didn't smell how I expected. I'd seen loads of people say how sexy it was and that it was like a basket full of berries. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is, but it just didn't smell how I expected. And then it's just grown on me so much. I've just like completely fallen in love with Amethyst. I think it's so enjoyable to wear. It also is cheap. It's not like beast mode in terms of the projection, but it lasts all day. I put this on at like 8:30 and I don't reapply it until I leave work. And I leave work maybe like say 5 o'clock or something. And even then I can still smell it on me, and I can definitely smell it on my clothes. I think this is such an incredible perfume when it comes to like value, because this genuinely cost me like £20 for 100ml, which is mad because it's a Lalique bottle. They're glass makers, so it's an incredible bottle. And then it's just this magical, really interesting perfume. But if you don't like soapy perfumes, and when I say soapy, I don't mean shampooey, because I don't like shampooey perfumes. I mean like a creamy bar soap kind of musk, you know? If you don't like musky perfumes and you don't like bar soapy type perfumes, you probably won't like this at all and you should avoid it. But I absolutely love this one. I think my husband really likes this as well. But we'll have to do another video at some point so I can test him blindly. And I think this is one that smells exactly like it does in the bottle on my skin. And it doesn't necessarily change a huge amount either. I just love it. I just love it. So, now I'm going to talk about something that has made me so sad. I've had all these loves, and then I attempted something last weekend. If you've been watching me for a little while, you'll know that I fell in love with Avon Far Away last year. You can see I've got a decent dent in this, and I did only buy this like winter last year. And this is also, I've got like a pen spray of it as well, which is the one I took to work. So I reckon I've used at least like 30ml easily of this last year, which for me is good. I kept wearing it. I fell in love with it. And then when I wore it the other day, it just smelled like chemicals to me. And I'm worried that this is one of the perfumes that just have something in, because all of the other Far Away perfumes that I've smelt from Avon all have that Veramos tar smell in. All of them, to differing degrees, but all of the more recent ones. And I've got loads of reviews if you want to watch them, of all the different Far Away perfumes that I could get my hands on, of samples and pen sprays. And I could smell it in them, whereas with this one, it just has I always thought it had like a doll head sort of plastic smell to it, but it still was like a tropical vanilla to me. Like a floral, tropical vanilla and kind of peachy smell. And now there is something in here. I can smell it. And I've actually ordered one of the older bottles of this, but I still don't... There's not really any way of telling if it's one of like the really old bottles, and because it's Avon, their perfumes don't necessarily always last like well, you know what I mean? Even when I was younger, I used to have to chuck them away because they'd go off relatively quickly. I don't know. I'd be incredibly devastated about the thought I might have to get rid of this if it weren't for the fact that I have Casmir from Chopard. And actually, now that one has sat for a bit, and I'm going to talk about that one anyway, because I'm going to talk about affordable alternatives to very expensive perfumes. And yeah, it's literally one of the popular modern perfumes. It's just a complete rip-off of Casmir. Like, it smells exactly the same. So Casmir smells incredibly similar to Far Away as well. Like, when I first smelt it, I said, this is like an easier version of it, which I think is probably true, because this doesn't have patchouli. It doesn't have that kind of minty green smelling patchouli that you get in Casmir. But now for me, I think Casmir is like easier, because although it has like the weird plasticky smell, very much like this one, it doesn't have like the burnt wood smell that I'm now getting from this. So yeah, I mean, wish me luck that an older bottle is going to smell better to me, but it's so sad because I can still smell what I loved about this, but then on top of it I've got this like real burning rubber chemical smell. Such a shame, whereas it just used to smell like doll heads to me before. So I think that might be another one biting the dust, which is extremely sad because I genuinely, I love the scent profile of Far Away. I think it's delicious. Oh, Avon. Let's see, what else have I got? Ooh. Oh yeah, I gave this one a wear. This is another one where I was wondering whether this has that Veramos in, but I don't think it does. This is The Icon for Women by Antonia Banderas. I might actually swap these around. Let's just get a bit of something going. Now, this is definitely a dupe of Libre, or like an interpretation, if I'm being kind, of Libre. And honestly, it's kind of my favourite version of that scent profile that I've smelt because it's more fruity. It's got a pear note in it. Now with this one, it's not that there's like a Veramos note in here. It's not that there's like a tar note, because that one, I always know if it's that because that is what stays on my skin once the actual profile of the perfume has disappeared. With this one, I think it's just that the jasmine in it is that kind of slightly woody jasmine that I don't really enjoy. But it's really light, so I'm not sure whether this one is one that's going to be much better in warmer weather than it was in cold. I think it's really nice, but it was incredibly light. You would have to reapply this constantly. I love the bottle though, so I think I'm probably going to hang on to it, test it out when the weather changes. And just see if it gets a bit stronger, if it develops while it's in the bottle. Now it's been sprayed. So the top notes are pear, bergamot, tangerine and blackcurrant. Middle notes, lavender, orange blossom freesia, jasmine and rose. Base notes, tonka bean, vanilla, musk and sandalwood. And it's really pretty. It genuinely smells like a light version of Libre, somewhere between the original Libre and the EDT, because it's not quite as soapy, and I think that's because there's like quite a noticeable pear in this that gives it more of a juiciness. I think it's super pretty. I really like it, and it was very cheap, so I'm hanging on to that one. Then I've got, oh my goodness, so pretty. I've been waiting for kind of autumnal weather to wear this. This is My Cup of Tea from Brocard. Very sadly, you can't get these anymore. I don't know if you can get them anywhere. Another one that if you look out on eBay, maybe it'll pop up, but sadly, I don't know that they even make these at Brocard anymore. This is the Sweet Home from that collection. I think there were, if I remember correctly, I think there's 4, and I've had 3 of them in full bottles, and then I had a sample of the early morning. If you're interested, I do talk about them in one of my tea videos, but as I said, they're discontinued, hard to find, so possibly not worth bothering with unless you really, really want to try and get them secondhand. But this one, this to me smells exactly like a tea that we have from Tea People, which is called Cherry Black, and it's a black tea, and it's got rose petals in it, and it's got like dried cherry and all kind, and like dried cranberries, that kind of thing. And it's like a what are they called? A Mr. Kipling's cherry bakewell. It's like the tea equivalent of a cherry bakewell. That's kind of what it smells like. It's not like massively sweet, but it's light and it's beautiful. And this honestly smells exactly like the aroma I get from that tea, but a little bit sweeter. So, and it makes sense because I look at the notes and I'm like, well, that's why. It has black tea, red berries, raspberry leaf, cinnamon, blackcurrant leaf, vanilla, peach, vetiver and bergamot. And it just, honestly, it just smells like my cherry black. So pretty. So it's just, it feels right. It's not so heavy that you couldn't wear it other times of year, but because of the slight cinnamon, because of the kind of tea, because of it reminding me of like a warm cup of tea, it just feels right to wear it at this time of year. So there's that. Okay. And then I also wore, again, my little decant I took from Sugarful Dream by Michel Germain. I am still massively kicking myself for getting rid of this bottle. I really, really want a bottle of this now. I'm just so annoyed. I had this and I had the original Sugarful, and I sold them both. I've still got a little. I took a smaller decant from the original Sugarful because I didn't like it as much, and I definitely don't really like that one very much. But I really, really like Sugarful Dream. It's very light. It's really comforting. It does smell like kind of chewy blueberry, almost blue raspberry sweets, like slightly tangy. But then there's this kind of soft, clean, lavendery dry down mixed in with that, which doesn't necessarily sound good, but I really, really like it. So I'm annoyed with myself, genuinely, for for selling this bottle. I should have held on to it and I should have tried it again. But I didn't, so now I have to just keep an eye out to see if I can get hold of this again, because it's a nightmare to get them from the actual shop, and they take ages and they're quite expensive. And I do really like this, but I don't like it enough to spend like 70 quid plus, whatever taxes I might have to pay. They do say now they ship from the actual UK, but for some reason they're still like charging 13 quid for possible charges. And I don't know how you can ship from the UK and still be charging that. So I'm not spending nearly 100 quid to get this perfume, because I really do like it, but it's not worth that money. I think all of the Michel Germain perfumes are massively overpriced for what they actually smell like, because I've got some samples as well that I am yet to talk about them, but I will at some point. They came when I bought the Sugarful and Spice, which then I just sold because that one had tar note in it and it just smelled like a rip-off of Baccarat Rouge but with orange and ginger in it. Anyway, this, I should give you the notes. What am I doing? So top notes: blueberry, strawberry, pink grapefruit, lavender, star jasmine, passion fruit, and then vanilla, musk and amber. And I just think it's really pretty and quite comforting. It's like tangy, but it's soft and it's sweet, and it's just, yeah. It's the lavender and passion flower in it that are making it quite interesting. Okay, and then we have a couple of little samples. So I got some samples because I wanted to know what a couple of things smelled like. But mainly, to be honest, I was just ordering stuff for my the video that I'm going to make, which is about like affordable alternatives, and also because I'm going to do a Scarlet Poppy video, and I'll explain that at some point. But so I needed certain samples, and I thought I'll get a couple of others while I'm ordering, because it's always fun to do that. So before I start, I'm not affiliated at all with Small Aromas, but if you're in the UK, Small Aromas is where I get my little samples from, and they do really nice little samples. They're really affordable, they're very quick, and they often get in the new and popular perfumes, so you can actually get samples, because again, like, it's just you might not necessarily want to spray them on you if you go to a shop, or you might not be able to get to a shop where they have these kind of things. So let's start. This is one I just wanted to smell for ages. This is Milano Fragranze, I think you say it. This is Panettone. So I loved the idea of a Panettone perfume, and I was really interested in knowing what this smelled like. And partly also I wanted to compare it to Yognog from Lush. So this is very fruity. And it's actually surprisingly, I would say, transparent. So let me just have a look. The notes are top notes of bitter orange, ginger, carrot seeds, mandarin orange and davana, rum, immortelle and tagettes in the mid, and then vanilla and buckwheat in the base. This definitely has a yeasty bread smell. It definitely has like kind of ginger and then candied orange, like candied fruits that you get like in a panettone. There's definitely like a bit of rum, so you've got that slight boozy without it smelling alcoholic, but it smells thin, which is I was not expecting. Very bready, but quite light, and way more fruity and kind of juicy than I was expecting. And it's nowhere near as sweet as I was expecting it to be. Now, I have worn a lot of sweet things this week, so maybe that's just the way my nose is perceiving it. But I wasn't mad for this, and I feel like in a weird way Yognog gives me more of a Panettone feel than this one, even though this definitely has nailed the bread smell. But in terms of the sweetness and the kind of Christmassiness, I feel like I just like Yognog better anyway, which is good because I have a pen spray of that. So it was interesting to smell it, but I'm not that fussed about this one, to be honest. I was like, it's okay. Fun to smell though, really fun to smell and fun to have. And then this one really surprised me. I was so surprised at how this smells. How it smells to me anyway. Yeah. So this is Liquid Imaginires and this is Blanche Bête. Now I've mentioned people before who I watch a lot, and a lot of people that I watch and really like love Blanche Bête. Now, this is an insanely expensive perfume. So I was like, there must be something about it if people are spending, I think this is like 200, 300 quid. It's a beautiful bottle. To me, it smells like body lotion. It smells like sweet body lotion, but it smells like body lotion. And I was expecting this to be way more sort of gourmand and a little bit more... just like more interesting. I was expecting there to be more going on. Now, part of this is probably because this smells quite chemically to me. It smells like aroma molecules. So the notes do include, actually, I'll just read them all out, but they've got milk, ambrette, and mystical in the top. Now, mystical is obviously some kind of aroma chemical because it's got one of the little kind of molecule symbols. The middle notes are tuberose, mahonial, jasmine, and incense. And mahonial is like an imaginary note that is aroma chemically. I've smelt that before in the Eau Fraiche from the white tea range from Elizabeth Arden. That has mahonial in it as well. And I can really recognise that same smell when I was like, there's something in here that I recognise. And it's from that Eau Fraiche. It's got that same note. It's quite strong in both. The base notes, vanilla, musk, tonka, and cacao. So when I first sprayed this out, I did smell the milk, definitely. And then it smelled super chemically to me. It smelled really, really chemically. And then it dried down and smelled like a very sweet, not even creamy, specifically milk, so thin, like a thin body lotion that was very, very sweet. It doesn't have much projection. I could barely smell it unless I put like my hand up to my face. But it did last for ages. So I could still smell the sweet kind of body lotion dry down, maybe like 8 hours after I'd sprayed it on my hand, and I'd been washing up and doing all kinds of stuff. So it's got an amazing longevity. It just doesn't have the greatest like scent bubble. Unfortunately, I can't think of anything that I think smells exactly like it. But in terms of the kind of body lotion smell and the general kind of very sweet skin scent vibe of it, it reminded me of a couple of things, which is the Oh My Secret from Woman's Secret. It's that same kind of vibe. It's not the same scent profile. It's not got the same florals, but it's got that really sweet, slightly sugared, slightly gourmand element with what smells like a body lotion as well. And the same with Lolita Lempicka Mon Petite, which is like a sweet marshmallowy almond skin scent, but also has a slight body lotiony vibe to it. So those were the two things that I was like, well, it's that same feeling as when I've worn those. But yeah, it's kind of a shame that I don't think I can smell this the way that other people do. I think it's the same as with like Akro Bake, and like I said, like D&G Devotion when I was talking about Far. I think there's just so many aroma chemicals that I don't perceive very well, and just smell like the actual chemicals and don't smell like the notes they're supposed to represent. So yeah, I was not at all blown away by either of those, and I thought I probably would be. I'm not sad. I would have had to find like dupe of this one especially, but doesn't always work out. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching again. Tell me what you've been wearing. Tell me if you've got any of these, and I will be back very soon with the next one. And I can't remember what I've got up this week, but hopefully it will be entertaining, whatever it is. All right. Bye, guys.